Hey everyone, in today's video, I want to show you my latest do-it-yourself project. This is a 15-foot by 13-foot hardtop gazebo from Purple Leaf that we've just put in our backyard. This is probably the biggest project I've ever worked on as far as a build in my backyard. And you might be wondering, or you might be considering putting one of these gazebos in your backyard. I want to go through the whole process from planning to building and then the final result here to answer some of these questions that you might have, such as how hard is it to build one of these yourself? How long does it take? Maybe how many people does it take? And is it worth it? We're going to go through all that. Come along with me up next. Hey everyone, my name is Jeff, and on this channel I've done all sorts of do-it-yourself projects. My latest project here is this gazebo. So this is a hardtop gazebo by Purple Leaf. And for full disclosure, ahead of time before this video, Purple Leaf did reach out to me, asked if they could send me this gazebo free of charge for an exchange of me doing a review video, a setup video, kind of outlining the whole process of this. So just want to put that out there ahead of time. I am going to give you guys my honest thoughts on this gazebo. I want to talk to you guys about the whole process here before even building this, so that if this is something you're considering or thinking about, that this video hopefully helps you out in your planning and build process as well. If you want to find out more specifics on this particular gazebo, again, this is a 15 by 13 size. You can get all different types of sizes, all different types of designs from Purple Leaf. These products are also sold at certain stores. I'm going to leave links down in the video description where you can check all these products out and get more information. Now those might be affiliate links, so I may make a small commission if you decide to purchase through one of those links, but there's going to be no additional charge to you. There may even be some discounts. If I have any discounts, I will also leave that information down in the video description. So this particular gazebo, like I said, is 15 feet by 13 feet. So it is rectangular. Some of the things you'll notice are that on the slab that we actually have it set back. I really liked that because now we've got a little bit of patio space or concrete space in the front of it if we want to put some chairs, if we want to put maybe a grill out there, anything like that. So I really like how we positioned this gazebo on our concrete that we had put in the backyard. Now this particular gazebo, the roof is actually galvanized steel. The posts, as well as a lot of pieces of the frame, are all aluminum. So it is lightweight, but still heavy and durable for resisting. We live in Wisconsin, so we do get, fairly high winds here at times, as well as in the winter, we are going to get snow. This thing is rated for up to 2,500 pounds of snow and does have the ability to be anchored down. I would highly recommend anchoring down a gazebo. I'm going to go into more specifics of that as we actually continue on with the video. Now, I do want to show you what this looked like before, as well as what this space looks like after. And I'm going to go into more specifics about this gazebo as well. So now let's talk about the concrete slab. We hired a concrete company to come out and pour this slab. Saved us a lot of trouble from trying to do things ourselves. They had several guys coming out, and these guys were able to pour the whole slab in one day. Very happy. They also, just something important to note, they slightly pitched this concrete. They had told us you don't want a completely flat piece of concrete because then you're going to get a little bit of pooling of water. So from this corner to this corner over here, there's actually a 2-inch pitch to just let some of the water run off of it during the rain. When they put this in, not only is this concrete slab pitched a little bit, but it's also bigger than our gazebo itself. So our gazebo is 15 feet by 13 feet. This slab is actually 24 by 18 feet. And then we figured that we would take the gazebo itself and offset it back a little bit. We could have perfectly centered it in the slab, but we wanted more of a patio up front here. And we pushed the gazebo back so that we've got extra area for people sitting, or if we want to put more flowers and stuff. You can see here that we're going around, we're starting to add some landscaping. We're doing all that ourselves. And then a little walkway here that's going to connect to more of our fire pit area. So we're working on that right now. It's going to be very cool when it's all done. But something to keep in mind if you're getting a slab put in is that they're going to have extra dirt from digging out that area. So this is about an 8-inch high slab. And then underneath that, they have 6 inches of gravel that they put in. So they had to dig down a little bit to get rid of all that dirt. You're either going to need to pay to have that dirt removed, or they can put it somewhere else in your yard. Things to think about with that whole process if you're getting a slab of concrete put in. But these guys were able to do the job in one day. Very happy with everything they did. We liked having the slab just a little bit bigger on the sides and in the front here, so we've got a little extra room for whatever we want to do near the gazebo itself. So I'm interested to know, where would you guys put a gazebo in your yard, and what would you guys use it for? What is the most important thing you would be doing with that gazebo? Let me know down in the comments section below. So next, let's talk about the assembly. So before we started assembling anything, we needed to let the concrete slab cure for 7 days. So while that was curing, we started opening up all the boxes from Purple Leaf. I believe there were 7 boxes that came with all of the pieces that were included for the gazebo, and box 1, when you open it up, has the instructions in it. Every box also has a checklist. So what's really nice is all the pieces they have letters on them, and so you can use the checklist, you can use the instructions to make sure you've taken inventory of all the pieces from the boxes to make sure you got everything. So we did that ahead of time before we invited a couple people over to help us assemble the gazebo. I'd highly recommend doing some prep work. It's going to take you a couple of hours before actually doing the assembly itself. All the pieces are wrapped up in cushioning and different fabric so that they don't get scratched up or damaged in shipping. We actually, I guess, lucked out. None of the pieces in our set were damaged during shipping, so that's awesome. And I think the way everything was wrapped was great as well. But it was very helpful for us to not only unwrap everything, but start laying it out in our garage ahead of time and kind of sorting it. We actually went right down the alphabet of the letters, just kind of start sorting out all the pieces. And then we took some time, read through the instructions, and saw that there were a lot of pieces, especially of the frame, that could be pre-assembled without actually needing to set it up to save us time when we were doing the actual build. So we spent at least an hour, I would say, after sorting, going back and pre-assembling the different frame pieces so that when we got to the build, a lot of those smaller pieces that connected together were already built. Everything with this gazebo is screwed together. So it's all screwed together with Allen wrench screws, and they do include a couple of Allen wrench screws, but I'll tell you, you're gonna wanna go, and if you don't already have some Allen wrench bits, you're gonna wanna go buy a couple of bits and have at least one powered tool, a drill or a driver. If you've got friends coming over or other family members, have them bring a drill as well. You're also gonna wanna make sure that you have several ladders for the actual build itself, but all of those screws just go together using those Allen wrench bits, and they screw together very easy. But after you do the pre-assembly of the pieces, when you get to the actual build, that's where you're gonna need multiple people. So probably the trickiest part to this build is setting up the frame. And essentially what they say is you set up the frame in the instructions, and then when the frame is done, they want you to bolt it down. You have to get everything level, and they say that if it's not completely level, some of the roof pieces may not fit very well. So what we did is there was at least 5 of us here. Now, I don't know if you actually need 5 people, but I'll tell you, having 5 people here made setting up the frame go fairly smooth because we had one person holding each one of the legs, and we had somebody else with a ladder running around screwing all the frame together, and that seemed to work very well. That saved us from having to pre-assemble like 1 or 2 legs and then lay them down and then work on the other ones and then set those up. So if you're able to get more people here, at least for the initial frame assembly, I think that's going to be extremely helpful. Once we had the frame set up, we were using I would get a level and make sure that your legs are level, make sure they're plumb, make sure your frame looks good, and start screwing it together. Throughout building the frame, as well as putting the roof pieces on, my recommendation to you guys is put the screws in, but keep them loose until you feel that you've got things just the way you want, and then go back and tighten all your screws. Because if you just start in one corner and you start screwing everything together nice and tight, you're gonna find you need to make adjustments, and now you're gonna have to go back and loosen those screws. If you just keep all the screws loose up front and then figure out where you want all your pieces, your leveling and things like that, you can always go back and tighten everything afterwards, and it'll save you guys some time. So from a time standpoint, the actual assembly itself took us, I think, just to get the frame up and leveling and going through everything. With the 5 of us, we had spent several hours. So we started in the morning, and I think around lunchtime, we were nearing completion of the frame itself. If you're thinking this is something you're gonna assemble in one day, good luck. I can tell you guys, it took us the weekend, and we planned the weekend out to assemble this gazebo. That allowed us to work not completely full days when the weekend that we decided to do this. Fortunately, it got really hot on the first day. So mid-afternoon, we actually stopped, took a break right after lunch, and then continued working in the evening hours when it became a little cooler, when the sun started going down. So when we got to the roof pieces, I think the roof pieces can be done with less people than what we had for doing the frame. But I will say you need at least 2 people, in my opinion, to install these roof pieces because as you can see behind me here, there's a ton of screws, and all of these screws have nuts on them. And for one person to be on a ladder, really 2 people need to be on ladders, one on the inside and one on the outside. The one that's on the outside is kind of reaching over the top of the roof, and they are screwing the different screws in. And then there's another person on the inside here that's on a ladder that is holding with a wrench these nuts so that they can hold in place as the screws are going in. Now you can see here this ridge frame and those screws and those nuts are going into that. There's no way for one person to like reach all the way around this roof to hold the wrench for the nut as well as screw the screw in from the top. So that's where having 2 people on a ladder for each person working all the way around this gazebo is extremely helpful. And then here is the an assembly manual that comes with it, and we studied this before we actually started construction. And again, this is going to kind of give you instructions on everything all the way through, including mounting. And so what they include with the gazebo itself is these 1/4-inch expansion bolts, and those are going to be these guys here. That's what's in this bag. With the strong winds we sometimes get here in southeast Wisconsin, we definitely could have used those, but I actually went to Home Depot and I got some of these Parrot, which are 3/8, just a little bit beefier, a little bit bigger than those 1/4-inch bolts. I wanted to make sure this thing wasn't going anywhere and essentially had to drill the feet holes just slightly bigger so they could accommodate these 3/8. Now, this is not what's included with the gazebo. They include these 1/4-inch ones, and I think we could have used these and would have been just fine. This was a decision I made, and I'm not necessarily saying you need to do this, but when I had talked with several people, they said you want this thing anchored down as well as you can, and to me, to spend a couple extra dollars on some of these concrete anchors, I thought it would just be worth it. These are Cobra anchors. Again, I think I got these at Home Depot. And so we put those in, and those are going down into the concrete. And I'll show you over here. So here are the anchors that we put in. And because this is the lower side of the concrete from the 2-inch pitch, I bought some shims that are just a couple of dollars, and they come angled so you can stick them underneath, and then you just break off those shims whenever you get it to the height you need. And we were putting those shims in, and then I was using the level on the main frame and making sure that this gazebo was level, and that was helping me know then how much we needed to shim up this leg that's right here, and then this leg that's over here. But those concrete anchors are what we put in for each one of these feet. So jumping back to these instructions, again, you have a checklist of everything that's included here as well. You can see all the mounting hardware, all the screws, all the roof pieces, and then from this point, you can see it goes here, step 1, step 2, putting all your frame pieces together. A lot of this stuff where you're putting these corner pieces in, that was all the pre-assembly that we did. Putting all of the different frame pieces together so that you have 3 of them here. That could all be done before we actually went out and started assembling and building. And then when we got to the point where we were actually putting the frame up, that made things go a lot easier because you can see all the pre-assembly here of all those different screws. When we got to this point, this is where we started needing, and my wife even put start here, when we had several people here. That's where we started, and we're able to just start mounting and screwing everything together. Once you have the main frame together, you start working on that raised up roof piece, and of course there's frame pieces you put in there, but essentially you get it to the point here where you've got your entire frame assembled, and then you add your screens and start working on the roof pieces themselves. All in all, I thought the instructions were very easy. Now I'm kind of handy, but as far as going through all this and reading through the instructions, the only thing I think they could have or somehow just communicated a little bit clearer is how you start in the middle here and work your way out, just knowing that these top ridges of these pieces need to slide under the frame, and that takes a little bit of of work, a little bit of messing around to get all those pieces to fit in. So just know when you get to your roof pieces, that you're going to be messing around with trying to make sure those all slide into place, and then trying to feed all those screws through the roof pieces down to the framing and get all that screwed together. It's a little bit of messing around. It's going to take you a little bit of time. And you can see here all of these different screws that have to go in for all these different roof pieces. And then on top of that, there's more screws that are going on that center frame there. So you go through a ton. You can see here 40 different screws here. And then over here, you got 88, 92. It's a lot of assembly. All right, so here it is. When we're all done, the finished product. This is our Purple Leaf 15-foot by 13-foot gazebo. And I want to take you guys inside. We've started adding some fun little elements to it to just kind of give it some character. We started adding some flowers around the outsides. We've got our patio set in here. We've got a lounge chair, and we've got a hammock to just relax. I want to show you guys what it's like inside. So let's look at the roof that we've got. It's actually got a raised roof with some screens in here to keep the bugs out. We installed those. And some hooks for either lights. I've actually got a ceiling fan that I've ordered that will be coming here in the next day or two that I plan on installing. And it's nice and shady in here. Today it's pretty hot, but keep it nice and cool in the gazebo. And this gazebo from Purple Leaf not only has the structure, but it also came with some screens and it came with some curtains. And so those are all on a track. And so you can pull these out, and I'll actually show you guys here what it looks like with these all out. Unfortunately, we've had a bird or two that's been trying to build their nest here, but there were these little track sliders that we installed, and those are holding both the screen and the curtain so that you can just slide them out. And you can put these screens and these curtains out, and they go all the way around on all the different sides. We've had this gazebo now where it's been raining, and the rain stays out of the inside, so you stay dry underneath it. It's got a rain gutter system. Here, let's take you over here. And I'll actually get a ladder so we can go up top. So we're up top, and I just want to show you guys here the system. Here's what the roof looks like, and you can see all the screws that we had to put in. So each one of these panel pieces is being held down very securely. I like the look of the roof, and all this channeling here guides all the water down when it's raining. That actually funnels into this rain gutter. This rain gutter is on all four sides, and then that goes into these troughs that are in each one of these corners. When the water goes into the rain gutter, it actually comes out. There's 3 different drainage holes here, and then drains right down the outside of the gazebo. But I really like the roof. I think the look of this gazebo is great. I like the ventilation we have up top. The screens keep the bugs out, and it just works great. We went with the gray gazebo color, and I like it. I think it contrasts very nicely in our yard. I think that the structure itself is very well built. Bolting it down to the concrete slab, you actually feel, a little bit more secure. It's definitely like a small oasis. We have it away from our house so that being able to just sit in here and relax is awesome. I'm hoping that with that ceiling fan in here, it's going to cool things off. And we've used the screens now and even the blackout curtains to just create a little bit more of a private, intimate atmosphere in here. And it's been great. We added a little rug on top of the slab to just kind of give it more of a personal, kind of a homey look. We have gotten a couple of strong winds here, so on the hammock I've had to put a couple of landscape stones down just to keep stuff from the hammock's actually blown over. But of course, with the gazebo being bolted down, that hasn't moved at all. And then we, added some fun flowers here on the deck by the gazebo to just kind of brighten things up and have some fun with it. So I'm interested to know, would you guys build a gazebo yourself, or would you hire it out? Let me know down in the comments section below. So here we are inside the gazebo with all the screens set up, and the screens zip down from the top. So there's 4 breaks, one in the middle of each side, and they all have zippers. And what I like are the zippers start at the top and work their way down. They're very easy to just open up, let people through. We have our dog Tinker. And we like to leave this about yay high, and so he sneaks in and out. He's still got freedom to roam the yard and can come in and out, and it keeps the bugs out of here. My wife does a lot of video conferencing, and she likes to come out here and just sit at the table and relax with the screens up, keeping the bugs out, and just take her video chats and calls right from in here. Probably took me 2-3 minutes to just put all the screens up, and the fact that you've got the screens themselves, here all the time is very convenient. I'm going to show you guys here. So this is pretty heavy duty. It's not just a cheap chintzy screen. This thing's got some thickness to it. It's definitely got some weight to it. So they are definitely heavy duty screens. And then, like I was I think explaining before, they slide on this track right up top, so you can just put them in all the corners. And then there's actually a wrap down here with Velcro on it to just bunch up the screens on each one of the 4 legs, and then it just sits there when you're not using it if you just want a completely open air gazebo. What would you guys use a gazebo for? Grilling? Would you put a hot tub in it? Relaxing? Let me know down in the comments section below. Okay, let's take a look at the blackout curtains. So I've spread these out all the way around, and these have the heavy duty zipper both on the inside and outside, just like the screens. So you can zipper it from the inside to the outside. Let's take a look at this material. So very nice, very heavy duty. Again, these have some weight to it. They're not chintzy, they're not super thin. I really like them. The inside's all blacked out. You can take a quick peek here. You can just kind of see, if I come on in and close this, get rid of as much light as we can. In fact, let's just zip this down. Here's what the inside looks like. Have a little bit of light coming in from our screens up top, but aside from that, this is what the inside looks like with all the curtains. I gotta get out of here though, because today it's approaching 90 degrees and it's hot in here with these curtains up. Just give you guys a quick view from the hammock. Beautiful day, slight breeze. Nice and shady. It's very sunny out, but nice and shady under this gazebo. Just kind of enjoying life sitting outside today. Got our campfire going this evening, and we have installed some landscaping. So at night, our gazebo is looking really cool. Also, lights in the gazebo because I recently installed a ceiling fan from Parrot Uncle. And I actually did a video on the installation of that ceiling fan. If you're looking for a fan and a light for your gazebo, this might be something that might be a good solution for you. Kind of hard to see with the light on, but here, let me see if I can turn that off for you guys, just to give you a better view of the fan. What I liked about this fan is it hangs real nice from the gazebo, and then the power cord is just going down the side of the gazebo where I actually just kind of ran it using some wire clips, but we're actually powering it from this Ego Nexus power inverter that's down here, which I've done a whole bunch of Ego reviews on my channel. But what's cool is this will do up to 400 watts of power using the Ego batteries. So if you're looking for a way to light up your gazebo and you don't have power, let's say like our gazebo's way in our backyard, we didn't want to pay to actually run power out here. This is a great, very affordable solution to power up to 400 watts of stuff. I mean, you could power the ceiling fan as well as if you want to plug in some other lights or anything else. And it's very remote. When we're done, we can just pick this battery up and wind the cord up somewhere up top so it doesn't get wet if it rains. But that's powering this whole fan and light, and we're going to get a couple hours of light and use of the fan with that battery. And if that battery were to run out of juice, I have more Ego batteries. I could just pop one of those in here. So a very cool solution. There's another battery sitting on the table there if you're looking for some remote power for your gazebo. So some things to consider with the planning of our gazebo. Before we even started construction or anything like that, we needed to figure out where this thing was going to go in our backyard. This started several months before we were actually going to start this whole building process, partly because in our city, there is a requirement that we pull a permit before constructing our gazebo. You're going to need to check with your city or your ordinances as well to see if there's any codes, any requirements that you're going to need to jump through. We needed to figure out where this gazebo was going to go in our yard. We have a fire pit that I built a couple of years ago and figured it would be cool to put the gazebo just behind where our fire pit is so we can watch campfires at night, use the screen on the gazebo, not have to worry about bugs, and that worked out really good. But from this point, once we decided where the gazebo was going to be placed in our yard, I needed to go through the permit process, and you're going to need to figure this out as well for your city. You could probably just go online, type in your city name, type in gazebo construction, gazebo permit, is a permit needed, and then you'll be able to pull things up online as to what the requirements are. There were several things I found out with pulling the permit to construct our gazebo. First off, it could not be within 10 feet of any of our lot lines. It couldn't be any closer than 10 feet to our house. So all things that I had not thought about initially. Also, I was originally considering a bigger gazebo than what we got. This one is 15 by 13 feet. I was looking at something that was more like 20 by like 18, but our city has a max square footage for a gazebo of 200 square feet. So there's those requirements. If you live in an area that's got an HOA may also have restrictions or requirements that you're going to have to jump through as far as putting up a gazebo. So you're going to have to check with them as well. When we figured out the placement, we figured out what the requirements are for our gazebo. Oh, another requirement they also had is our gazebo has to be bolted down to some sort of a permanent surface, so like a concrete slab. That concrete slab also needed to be a thickness of at least 3 inches. Ours is actually much thicker than that. It also needed to have 6 inches of either gravel or sand underneath that permanent surface. And I will say here in southeastern Wisconsin, we get high winds sometimes, we get tornadoes. We don't want this thing taken off like a rocket ship in high winds. So I think those requirements are there for a lot of good reasons. Before I could actually get my permit, I needed to pull a plat of survey. That was one of the requirements, and then indicate with dimensions on that plat of survey where the gazebo was going to be located. I also needed for our city to give them a picture as well as dimensions for the gazebo so they could see all that. And then it took several weeks to go through the whole process of getting everything approved to get the actual permit before we could start construction. So I want to give you guys my final honest thoughts about this gazebo. My wife has been wanting a gazebo for a while, and this was a great treat to be able to give her an oasis in our backyard. Since this thing has been built, we have been out here every single day, even when it's been kind of rainy. This thing keeps you dry, keeps the sun from beating on you. You know, coming outside, we'd have to find shade or we'd have to set up an umbrella or something. The gazebo is always here, so you just come out and enjoy it. And it has been a real treat being able to just pull the screens out to keep the bugs out of here while we're watching a fire at night. It's been so much fun, relaxing and enjoying. It's gotten our kids outside a little bit more. And overall, I'm very satisfied with the product from Purple Leaf. So if you enjoyed this video, take a second, smash that like button. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. I do weekly videos on this channel, just like this one, everything from tech reviews to do-it-yourself projects. This gazebo and everything I talked about in this video, I'm going to leave links down in the video description. So be sure to check out more information. If there's any discounts from Purple Leaf, those will also be linked down in the video description as well. My name is Jeff. I do appreciate you guys watching. We actually took all the cardboard from the boxes from this project and used them as liner for underneath a garden, for garden soil at my dad's house, where he has this massive garden that I helped put this fencing in. We made a whole video on how we did that garden fencing. If you have a garden and you're looking to fence it in and you want to do it right, you should definitely check out that video. That'll be popping up at the end of this video as well. Be sure to make every day awesome, and I will see you guys in the next video.